When the leaves fall, the shadows rise. Welcome to Seasons of Horror, where every season has its scream. Lock your doors, dim the lights, and let the terror begin. This is The Widow of Blackthorn Manor. They say the fog never leaves Blackthorn Hill, even in summer, when the valley below lies warm and golden. The hill is always cloaked in mist. It clings to the trees and to the ruins of what was once Blackthorn Manor. For over a century, the house stood silent, its windows hollow, its roof caved, and yet a single candle still burns in the highest tower. And on nights when the moon is full, you may hear a woman weeping. Long ago, the manor was alive with laughter and music. It belonged to the Blackthorn family, and its mistress, Lady Margaret Blackthorn, was a woman both beautiful and tragic. She prayed endlessly for a child that never came. They say she hid a cradle in the tower, rocking it at night, though no infant was ever seen. One storm-tossed night, Lady Margaret was found lifeless at the gates. Her throat bore marks no blade could make. Her eyes were wide, as if she had seen something so dreadful it had torn the breath from her lungs. Lord Blackthorn fled within the week. The house fell to ruin. But the villagers whispered, Margaret never left. A century later, a scholar named Edward Hale came to the valley. He collected old tales, and when he heard the villagers speak of the widow of Blackthorn, he laughed. Ghosts, he said, are born of ignorance, not truth. That very night, lantern in hand, Edward walked the fog-choked path to the manor. He reached the gates, and there, in the broken tower, he saw it. A faint, golden light. Inside, the air was colder than winter. His lantern showed portraits rotting on the walls, their eyes following him as he passed. The statues lining the halls seemed to scream without mouths. Then his watch struck midnight. And he heard it. A woman weeping. He followed the sound through corridors strangled with cobwebs. The weeping grew louder. His hand trembled on the lantern. At last, on the landing of the grand staircase, he saw her. A woman in a ruined gown, her veil trailing on stone, skin pale as wax, and when she lifted her head, Edward saw her lips were sewn shut with black thread. The widow raised one trembling hand and pointed at him, first to the door, then to herself. The weeping swelled, though her mouth never moved, and then she vanished. Edward fled. He burst through the gates, the fog clawing at his throat. By the time he reached the village, he collapsed on the inn floor, gasping, raving about stitched whips and burning candles. He left the valley the next morning, pale, shaking, but the villagers knew the truth. The widow had chosen him. as she chooses all who disturbs her halls. Still, the candle burns in the tower. Still, the weeping drifts across the hill when the moon is full. And if you are bold enough, or foolish enough, to walk the path of Blackthorn Manor, remember this. The widow does not weep for the living. She weeps for the child she'd lost, and for every soul who dares enter her house. For once you step inside Blackthorn Manor, you belong to her.